Welcome to Time Mastery, where we focus on how can we save you thousands of hours and eliminate the overwhelm, and how you and your team are managing your current workload. We believe in freedom, that we, with our job, our business, it's here for something more, that it's here to create a life outside of it. Also, we firmly believe that while we're at the job, that we also get to enjoy it, rather than it be a place of chaos and misinformation and overwhelm, that we could actually enjoy it, both on the inside as well as on the outside. And my goal is to provide my 26 years of being a CEO, though my love is for COO, and how to run really efficient operations and bring that knowledge to you. This live Q&A is a ask us anything. Whether if you see this during the live or afterwards, comment, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. One question that we had from the week that was coming up a lot is around meetings. I don't know about you, but I am not a fan of meetings at all. I'm a firm believer in doing anything possible to eliminate meetings. And even one of the companies I was a part of, I noticed that a couple of the leaders were so set about having meetings and having to wait to actually get responses and things like that. And it creates so much delay in response. One, just waiting for 4 or 5 days to get an answer when we could just be shooting each other voice notes, simple things like that, and actually have this thing done days before we even need to wait for a meeting. Also, rather than piling all this crap up for meeting agendas that can just be really long-winded, I just firmly believe that 98% of meetings are relatively pointless and can be moved forward even before it gets there. So some best practices that we learned when it comes to eliminating the meetings as well as the meeting time is, one, when it came to eliminating meetings, we have drastically reduced meetings simply by using Loom. Personally, I hate tech. I need something that's simple, it's effective, is easy. And rather than writing it, have you ever found out that most of the things that you're trying to say or explain, whether if it's in reports on how to do things, you actually just want to show your screen? Well, with Loom, it's a click of a button. It's immediately processed so that when you're done doing it, it's actually ready. And the editing features are like that, so you can cut out things super fast. Then we end up sending the Loom, it saves in a library. And in essence, what it does is it has not only eliminated probably 90% more of meetings when you actually show something rather than say it. It is so much more easily understood. So even think about that when it comes to writing out your SOPs and trainings, how do you want to eliminate 80% more of your onboarding time? It's the same thing. Using Loom to actually do screen recordings and show how things are going on, it's super easy. Click of a button, one share, it comes through in the phone, it goes through on in any types of messaging and Gmail and Slack, and it's just crazy easy. And you can save that information for later. That's been a huge asset for us. What to do at the end of every meeting. You ever notice where you start to have meetings about meetings about meetings, and then the meeting is ended, and the next thing you know, you're some days down the road, and you really don't know who is responsible. Just by asking this one thing at the close of every single meeting is super important. It's, okay, team, what needs to be done, by who, and by when, so that you can walk away with clarity. Because it's the clarity that moves forward everything. And when there's a lack of clarity and you have confusion, it doesn't move forward. And this reminds me of really coming back to the number one rule of having a team in excellence that just saves a ton of time and eliminates the overwhelm and the chaos. You got to be out of your head. You have to write it down. And when you write it down into your action system, maybe use Asana, maybe use Trello, maybe use your own todoist, maybe you have responsibility for your own piece of paper. but you have got to be writing it down. You got to be out of the head, have that what needs to be done by who and by when in your action system, and you are off and running. So even showing like an example here, like this is one of some big teams that I'm running that's just growing really fast. Like when I'm done with something, it is super easy to just simply change the assignee to move it forward, or when we're running a meeting that we can capture things again and again and again. And the next thing you know, we're at the end of the meeting and it's just like, okay, what needs to be done by who, it's assigned, and by when. And next thing you know, you are actually off and running. So that helps things move forward very, very fast. Also, the third point when it comes to actually eliminating meetings and that meeting time, they're called do after action reports. And I learned this from a friend who is very high up in the military. And I met him at Tony Robbins, and he has been brought into many companies, organizations, and even into the military when they need to disseminate information and get everyone up to speed very fast with minimal friction. And he just says, everything has an after action report. Everything does. Well, I'm like, well, give me some examples. So like when you're having a phone call, or after you've completed a certain task, or when you've had like this meeting, everything that you're working on actually needs an after action report. And when you do that, whether if it's inside your Asana or Trello, that you can, one, change it, you're moving it forward. Now that I'm done with this, is it that I need to pass it on to Bob and then assign it to him, that I can just like click the button inside the Asana? Let me just show the example here too. And even just like, click the button, I'm done with this, I can re-edit it, and next thing you know, I'm going to end up assigning it to someone else, and next thing you know, that it moves forward. Boom, and it's done. The bigger part in order to eliminate meetings is the after action report in the reporting. So how often are you having those meetings where you're just like, I need to talk to so-and-so about this. I need to report to my higher up about this. I need to like communicate downwards or sideways about these things. What if you just send like a 10, 20-second voice note, and or even like a text or whatever your team communication channel is, to actually get that through and moved forward? We've saved so much time in meetings about reports simply by like, we have voice channels set up, especially in Slack, and it is so easy. And what's great is when you're just like walking down the road, you're doing those things when they're driving, those voice notes on those after action reports are like that. And next thing you know, the information is through, everyone is current, and everyone is actually up to date. So those are three huge points when it comes to eliminating not only the meetings, but the meeting time. In summary, 1, Loom, Loom. 2, at the end of every meeting, ask what needs to be done by who and by when, and that it is clearly written down into the action system. And number 3 is those after action reports. Make sure you're moving it forward in the system. If it is a task that needs to move forward now that you've completed it, or even when it just comes to reporting. The next question we had is, what is the best practices for what to integrate when it comes to all the tools and products and services that are available for time mastery and improving an organization? So for example, most people are missing a business playbook. Half the people might be missing a project task tool. A lot of people haven't agreed on having one project task tool. Maybe people do have an information library like Dropbox or Google Drive. But there's also things like handling the email, the inflows, and things like that. So I'm going to show you the major areas and actually what to be integrating first. So the key areas in a full system, one is having the full tool set, what I just talked about. A mistake that a lot of people make is going after these first if communication flows are not handled first. Now, here's the reason why that mistake is. This stuff could take days to weeks. The business playbook is definitely a bigger one when it's having the months for it to be rolled out and actually everything written out for cross-training. This stuff can take a long time. This stuff has an immediate, huge return on your time investment when it comes to solving it and how much time is saved. So when you look at like all of your inflows, if your team sucks at email and you're overloaded in your Outlook or your Gmail, you can get that solved in under 30 minutes. And normally that 30 minutes once will save you probably a good, 5 to 8 hours a week. Think about that. Spend 30 minutes once, it'll save you 5 to 8 hours a week. If you're getting ran over by all of your inboxes, like all of your other stuff that you have going on, you got all your email, your phone, your text, your voicemails, your Slacks, the pings, the chats, your social media, your paper mail, blah, 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 blah. Either they own you or you own them. And if you don't have this being handled in under 30 to 45 minutes, you can get those handled, and that will save you easily another hour a day, minimal. But it really saves a lot of the overwhelm and having these things actually not fall through the cracks. Another big one is most people are managing a majority of their information from their head rather than it being written out and using a tool. It will take you probably 30 to 45 minutes tops to learn how to get out of the head, how to have a simple tool set, how to have best practices and agreements and routines to keep this together. You do that once, it will free up so much time. And this is also where a lot of the source of the overwhelm actually resides. When we're using our head to manage so much, most of the overwhelm is information overwhelm, and we're trying to keep everything here. It's like impossible to do. And that's how we just start missing everything. We misfire. It causes all the overwhelm. So that return on time investment, like around these, it's huge. It's around a probably 10,000% plus return on your time investment. You spend an hour once, and you'll probably save 100 to 300 hours per year in simply how you're managing that workload, and also freeing up all that mental energy. And the other thing is your internal team communication. There's still a lot of teams who I see that are just stuck in email only. If you don't have internal team communication systems set up in your project task tool or something like Slack or Discord, once again, in under an hour, you can save so much friction. It'll probably save you 30 to 60 minutes a day, let alone all that crazy overwhelm and how you're managing it. So in summary, the best practices are, before you really go to get your full tool set into play, your calendar, your project tool, your business playbook, and your information libraries, and then wrapping up your best practices and routines to keep all that together, first, double check if you have your information flows handled. On a scale from 1 to 10, how's your team doing with it? If it's anything short of like an 8 or a 9, you can go through those things and you could actually have it really up to speed. If whatever comments or questions you have on any of that, hey, feel free to drop a comment in, and we will be more than happy to answer that. The last question that we had is, this is a good one. How can we nuke the behaviors, the bad behaviors that employees have learned from other places before they even come into our business? This was asked yesterday during a client call where it's a huge team in Scottsdale that's just growing at like some astronomical degree. And then they're getting these people in who have learned bad behaviors. Also, this happened with another company I was with in the first quarter, which was in the health clinic field. All of them are from corporate and normal hospitals, which all of them had the feedback that a lot of the corporate mentality and how they behave just sucks. It's slow, it's sluggish, it lacks vision, it doesn't pay attention to the actual person. It's like, what do we really stand for? What's our mission? And how do we make sure that our culture is actually on point? So the point is, you got to nuke those behaviors even before they come into your company. So how we have set that up is, the first place we have people go whenever they onboard, when we're using like an onboarding system. By the way, if you don't have one, get one now. the cost is tiny, the return on investment and your aspirin, and let alone your time and money on what it takes to onboard someone, and then keeping people up to speed on actually what they need to do and how to do it, it's magic. It's also your ticket to freedom. But when we go to onboard someone, we really focus on the company and the policies before the processes. So when you're looking at the company, the big profile is a lot of it's around like the welcome, the story. Yeah, but you get the vision, the mission, like the core values and the culture. And it really focuses on those points inside of the company first. What do we believe in? How do we do it? And these are the reasons why. And what's nice is when you get a learning management system into play, you get your existing org chart so powerful that once they get the mindset and strategy, when you are learning time management, mastery, and freedom, which is really simply the management of the organization of your organization's org chart. When you get all of that handled and the mindset and the strategy of basics of time management and SOP and processes, when you lock that into the org chart, next thing you know, you have, whether if it's one person in or like 4 people coming in, the mindset and the actual strategy is so solid when someone gets onboarded, then there's a structure that's so powerful that when that new person comes in, that they are reinforced the mindset and the strategy that we believe in efficiency, we believe in freedom, we believe that we're being out of the head into a simple tool set and system and methodology so that the chaos does not exist here. It does not exist here at all. We do not operate like that. We are organized, we are efficient so that we all make a lot more money with a lot more time off, with a lot less mental energy, and that we are an adaptable, badass, non-breakable machine. That's what makes it. That's how you want to be able to bring someone into it. So in summary, being able to nuke those behaviors, you can find them here. And when you start to notice that someone might be off in the current organization, you can come back to it. And then you could actually do that behavior management that's happening there. Obviously, behavior management is tough when you are changing an existing culture. But when you got a new person, they're like a sponge, they're adaptable. So nuke those behaviors with a clear onboarding system that has a step-by-step process that focuses on your culture, vision, mission, core values, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, as well as taking it through those steps. So in summary, those are the 3 big questions I had for the week on the topics. And so if there's any other questions that would be asked here, feel free to comment and I'll do some follow-up videos on it. In summary, we are all about saving you thousands of hours and eliminating the overwhelm and how you are running your business and your team. Your business and your team is here for a higher level purpose, inside of it as well as outside of it. And anything that we can do to grant you hundreds of more hours every single year so that you can be spending it not only with the people that you love, like doing what you love with the people that you love, as well as enjoying it on the inside and doing what you love with people that you love on the inside, that's what it's all about. And over 80, 90% of people don't get this. And what's awesome, it applies to everywhere in life. It applies if you're an employee, if you're a business owner, if you're a student. Get these things handled now so that you can actually be a powerful force for being able to grow and onboard anything new into your life. Hope that makes sense, and I hope this was of value.